Hello, my name is Agatha. My email is dunyazade@gmail.com, and if you like to work with me, I'm a ghostwriter. I can write your own personal manifestation story. Please contact me at the same email, dunyazade@gmail.com. Now, what are you seeing? You're seeing me draw a face. Oh, attempting. The picture is, I think it's from unsplash.com. And while you see that, I'm gonna talk about Pluto transits. Okay, so I'm gonna start already. I'm gonna start with the first transit, which is Pluto in the first house. We have, I'm not gonna speak specifically of Pluto in Aquarius. I'm gonna, talk more generally about Pluto transits. But just to let you know that in 2023, Pluto will enter Aquarius and it will be interesting. We're going to live interesting times. So anyway, Pluto transit in the first house. The first house is the house connected with your body. Also, this isn't just a house connected with the body, it's one of the houses. The body, also the facade that you present to the world. Sometimes the way you see yourself, it's your filter, the way you see the world. It's your self, let's say. So there will be a change. The first house also affects the seventh house, so there will be a change in you. You'll be experiencing some things, if I'm not mistaken, some transformations, deep transformations in your life. If I'm not mistaken, I think this particular transit of Pluto in Aquarius, even though I'm not talking specifically about Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to last 20 years. So, of course, it's going to be dependent. It depends from person to person. You can have like a first house that's not very big. It depends, okay? So you can have a first house beginning in one sign and then ending in a completely different sign. So usually Pluto transiting the first house, it marks a time where you're going to transform yourself, sometimes even your body. There's going to be a big transformation in your relationships. Some of you even in terms of marriages, you can get married, you can get divorced, but this is usually Pluto transits are very long transits, very, very long transits. So it's kind of like burning there in the background. And sometimes Pluto, quote unquote, tries to speak to you, and we are just way too busy, and we don't listen to it. So it just festers in the background. It festers through years and years and years, and then everything comes up. So big transformation. Some of you might encounter possessive types. You also possessive types of people, could be all sorts of people. You also yourself could be a little bit like that. But then again, this is going to depend upon the transits, that the aspects that this particular transit is going to have in your particular chart. Imagine you have Venus in the first house. Pluto touching that Venus is going to transform your relationships, including your love relationships. Is going to transform maybe the view of yourself in terms and how you relate to your body. You like beauty can be like a very big thing in your, I'm going to say consciousness, but sometimes Pluto is it works in the background, so it's subconscious, subconscient. I don't know how to say this word properly in English right now, sorry. So let's say you have Venus in the first house. Your love relationships are going to transform. Could be romantic. Also, your relationships could be not just love relationships, could be work relationships, could be the relationships that you have with other people, family members, friends, and so on. So big transformation, your body could change, you can have health issues also, but all of this is to help you move into a deeper truth within yourself. Okay, it just unmasks you, kind of like that, and it might be very painful when we resist change. So this is the Pluto in the first house. I'm going to go to the second house. So Pluto in the second house, any sign, okay, is going to transform the way you make money, okay, the way you earn money. You can have, you can, even start a different type of career, not necessarily, but I remember when I had this transit, it was more to me a matter of discovering inner talents. So there's something that you're interested in and you want to develop that interest. So you will develop those talents and eventually you will make money from those talents. And it could be any type of thing, something that's interesting to you. The second house is not just money that we earn with our effort, could be a job, but with our talents is also talents, inner talents that we have. If you have, for instance, Sun in Taurus in the second house, your inner talent could be singing. Taurus is the throat. So you could be very good at singing and you could eventually earn money with that. So I remember when I had this very long transit in my second house, I became interested in astrology, in tarot, and that actually didn't give me a little bit of money. So it's helpful. It's helpful. You are developing things that will bring you money. Okay. Also, you are developing your inner worth by developing your talents, for instance. So this is just very generally Pluto in the second house. Pluto in the third house could be a big change in your neighbors, a big transformation in what concerns to the way your car, your vehicles of transportation, and this could be either way. It's like a remodeling on that department of your life. So sometimes Pluto, when it begins, at some point Pluto can be very difficult, but it's like taking out old things from your life that no longer works in order for new things to grow. Let's say that you have bad neighbors. So it might get to a point where you just can't take it anymore and you decide, I'm just going to leave this neighborhood. So Pluto on the third house could also be you changing your neighborhood because you cannot take any more crap from your neighbors, or you go to a place, or your neighbors leave. Okay, something happens to your neighbors. Now Pluto is also death. Okay, I don't want to scare you. I'm going to say everything that I can think of, which could be lots and lots of neighbors dying. I'm sorry to tell you this. The third house is the house of siblings. So there might be, again, I'm sorry, this is very general, there might be a death of a sibling, several siblings. There could be very big health issues connected to the sibling. Could be a very big transformation in the life of a sibling, not necessarily death, but like inner death, like inner transformation. Okay, you can see your sibling just really completely transformed himself or herself from a few years ago. You can see that change in them, in her or him. So this is also connected with writing, with speaking. So you might be developing power in what connects to writing and into speaking. So you might be, Pluto is researching. Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio really wants to know stuff. So you might be ferociously researching something, whatever it's interesting to you. So you research, I don't know, you might become a cop, something like that, or a scientist of some kind, or whatever theme that you want to know about. This could be math, even, whatever thing you're interested in. You might be reading a lot about it. You can be writing a lot about it. You can make a YouTube channel to speak of it, you know. So that's yet another way of how this can manifest in your life. So Pluto on the fourth house. Big transformation in what concerns your family, probably your close family, mother, father, siblings, even though the third house is also connected with siblings, but big transformation there. Like in the third house, you can also change where you live. You can go and move to another place. There's like a big transformation in the life, like I said, of a parent. A parent might have to come and live with you, or you might go back and live with with your parents, or a parent. But this could mean, I'm sorry to say, the death of a very close family member, like mother, father, even grandfathers, but someone close to you. The fourth house is a house also it's connected with how do you say, the end of life. So family members might die. Okay, I'm sorry to say. This could be also like a big transformation in where you live, like I said, but let's say that you stay where you live. You don't move. But your house might need remodeling. You might have to transform completely your house, right? Yeah, this is more or less what I have for the fourth house. So what about Pluto transiting the fifth house? Your life might be transformed because you might become pregnant and have a child, you know. You might have your first child because the fifth house is connected with it's the house of children. It's one of the meanings. You have a child, and this child will completely transform your life. Now, this could be your first child, yes, or this could be a child. It could be even your second, third, I don't know, but this particular child will completely transform and change your life on a very deep level. It could be a very painful level. Could be a very difficult level. I'm going to give you an example. I'm not telling you this is going to happen. I'm just going to give you an example. You might have a kid with special needs. So your life might need to be transformed for you to help this child of yours. And it might be that sort of thing that it's really difficult in the beginning, but 10 years after that, or 15 or even more, you might say something like, I'm so glad I had this experience, or I have this experience, because it completely transformed my outlook in terms of life. I used to be, again, just an example, I used to be selfish. I used to be more selfish. Now a lot less selfish. I used to judge people. Now I don't do that anymore. And you can see yourself transform through the life of a child, your child. Okay? This is an example. Okay? I'm not going to tell you this is going to happen. I give the example of special needs, for instance, autism, but it could be something completely different. Also, kind of special needs, quote unquote. Someone imagine that you have like a very smart kid, and you're gonna have to do things that you never thought you have to do before. You have to find places where this very smart kid can actually learn. For instance, this is just an example. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I have to tell you everything. This could also be the death of a child. I'm sorry. Not necessarily the first, could be if you have more than one, And this, again, could completely transform your life. It could be very difficult, very painful. Pluto transit the fifth house could also be a new love, a very obsessive type of love, a very transformative type of love. In worst cases, could be a very controlling type of love. Now, it could be you, or it could be the other person with whom you're going to have this love relationship. It depends. It's always the same thing. The objective is to change you, to transform you, to make you look within, sometimes to face things about yourself that you did not know about before. So maybe you didn't know that you were controlling. Now you know. No, I'm just giving you an example. Please don't be offended. Okay? So that is a meaning. The fifth house is also the house of hobbies. You can have a hobby that will completely transform your life. Eventually, you can even make money with it. No, it kind of depends. The fifth house is also the house connected with games. Okay, a hobby could be something, could be a game to you, to help you relax. But all games could be, for instance, playing the lottery. Eventually, of course, it depends upon the size of your fifth house. Not all fifth houses have the same size. It depends. Okay, you might win. You might even win a big prize in the lottery. You never know. Don't go and bet the house, please. But from time to time, if you have a Pluto transit in the fifth house, buy a tiny little lottery game, spend €1, $1, £1. It's more than sufficient. Okay, there's a potential for you to earn big. Okay. So Pluto transiting the sixth house. Sixth house is the house of pets, of health, of routines, of work, of colleagues. So it could be death of colleagues. I'm sorry to tell you this, but I have to say everything. Could be a very controlling type of colleague, very manipulative type of colleague. You can find yourself that you might have these, let's call them not qualities, but characteristics. Sometimes we don't know things about ourselves, and Pluto just kind of makes them be out in the open. So, what else can it be? Controlling colleagues, manipulative type of colleagues that might transform your life, stalker type of colleagues. I really hope that's not the case. Health issues. There could be health issues. I'm sorry. There could be health issues that they're burning in the background. Pluto is a very long transit, and it's usually stuff that we try to bury. We try to bury that stuff because it's kind of painful. We don't want to look at it, so we bury that stuff, and we bury it, and we bury it, and we bury it, right? So, and then eventually it comes up, and it comes up in ugly ways. So whatever issue that you're having with your health, and you're trying to bury it during this very long transit of Pluto, it will come up, and you'll have to look at it, and you have to deal with it, and you have to take care of it. And if there's an underlying cause to that health issue, you have to look at that underlying cause that you're trying not to look at. Example, let's say that you have a very demanding type of job, that maybe colleagues don't do the work that they're supposed to do, and you're doing it. Okay. Or you have colleagues that are not good, not nice. You have a colleague who's a bully. There could be bullying in the workplace, and maybe you had a tendency to not look at that. Or you even have bosses or supervisors that were very demanding, and they are increasing. And with the Pluto in the transit in the sixth house, they are increasingly demanding. Okay. So it could be that might come up as a health issue. You can't take it anymore. It could be stressful, so stressful that it comes up with as a health issue. Okay, and then you have to look at it. You have to look at underlying cause. These colleagues are bad. This boss is too demanding. This job is killing me, and I have to look at that. Another way of reading this could be a complete transformation of your work routines, not just work routines, or your daily life routines. Now, why is there a complete transformation of your daily life routines during this very long transit? Could be all sorts of not issues, but reasons. Could be that you get a new job, or your kids go to a different school. So you used to have you used to maybe drive to school if you take your kids, and then you go to work, but then you change your job, so now you go to You have to take a different route, so that's a change of your daily routines. Another thing, let's say you decide to take care of your health and you decide to start exercising. So that's a change in your daily routines. Let's say you decide to wake up a little bit early and exercise or go for a run. That's a change in your daily routine. Okay? So there's many different ways of looking at this. The sixth house is also the house of pets. So there could be a death of a pet, I'm sorry, or a pet that comes and transforms your life. Could be a cat, could be a dog, could be a horse, I don't know. No, any type of pet. Usually the fifth house is like pets for company. In the sixth house, it's not pets, it's animals that work. They're working animals. But I don't see it that way. It could be a dog that keeps you company, and I would see it also as the sixth house subject. Okay? So Pluto transiting the seventh house. Right now you might be seeing a different type of drawing, also made by me, because I thought I could fit this into 17 minutes, but I couldn't. So probably I put another drawing here. I don't know if you can see it. Also, both drawings are made by me, and the pictures are taken from the site unsplash.com. So let's go to Pluto in the transit in the seventh house. So this could be a very big transformation concerning your marriage. The seventh house is the house of partnerships, of marriage. So you might get married or you might get divorced, Or let's say that everything is fine in terms of you with your spouse. There might be a very big transformation with your spouse. So he or she might have health issues or might change careers or something like that. Whatever he or she does, it will affect you. Okay? But some of you could be, divorced. Some of you could be in relationships that are very controlling, very even narcissistic, and maybe you didn't look at it. Maybe you thought, oh, all marriages are like this, until it gets to a point where you have to kind of divorce, or you feel that that's the best way to deal with it. What else? The seventh house is also the house connected with contracts. Now, there's marriage contract, but also there's a work contract. So you sign a contract. When you go to work for a company, there could be changes in those work contracts. There could be changes in terms of your workplace. So maybe you thought things would continue to be the same, and then you are presented with changes in your contract, or your bosses want to do something completely different. Whatever it is, it's big. It might affect your work. It might affect your career. Okay, could be a work, and when you sign that contract, it will completely change your life. I don't know in what way. This is also business partnerships. So your business partnership, you have a business with somebody else, and this is just business partners. Okay, there might be changes there. Now, of what type? I don't know. Usually Pluto, like I said, I probably didn't hear the ones before, it's difficult. Pluto transits are difficult. So you might have troubles with your business partner. Sometimes it's like the things that you try to overlook over time. Maybe you've been working with this person for a very long time, and maybe there were issues, but you're like, nah, I'm not gonna mention this. I'm not gonna bother him or her. I'm just gonna let it slide, something like that, until it gets to a point where you cannot do that anymore, and you have to face the issue head on, and that could lead to a breakup in your partnership. But maybe that's better. Okay, maybe that's better. It could be also differently, that maybe you will have a business partnership that will completely change your life for the better. The seventh house is also the house connected with the second child. So a complete transformation in the life of your second child, the one who was born, the second to be born. Doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl, it's the second one that if you have more than one kid, it's the second one. So his life or her life will completely be transformed. In what way? Maybe they go to college. Maybe they they end college life and they start working in a new career, okay, or in the first time working. Maybe they get married. Maybe they have a kid. So a big transformation in their lives, in your second child's life. Also could be a divorce, I'm sorry to say, and then you see your second child returning home. I'm sorry to say. Also, I don't want to scare you. I have to mention every single possibility that I can think of right now would be a death of the second child. I'm sorry to say this, okay? But I like to give all possibilities. So this is the 7th house Pluto transit. Pluto transiting the 8th house could be a big transformation with your joint finances. Let's say you're married and you have joint finances with your spouse. Big transformation there. In what way? Let's say that there's a debt from one of you, and that affects both of your money, okay? Or there's like a big debt coming in, a big bill coming in, and both of you have to deal with it. It's a change in your joint finances. I talked about debts, I talked about bills. It could be, I'm sorry to say, that it could be that one spouse dies, and that will completely transform the joint finances. Okay, I'm sorry to say this. I like to give all possibilities, so I'm sorry to say this. Now, it could be something else. It could be an inheritance that will completely transform both of your finances. A grandmother or grandfather dies, maybe it was time, and suddenly, maybe some of you knew, others didn't, you have this inheritance, and you'll have to deal with everything that is connected with that. There could be a hike in your IRS, in your just IRS bill, or it could be the other way around. You can pay less IRS taxes. You can pay less taxes. The 8th house is also a house, also kind of like the 5th at some points, also connected with, it's the money that we get from others. Others could be your spouse, but it could be an inheritance, like I said, but it could be, for instance, winning the lottery. You could win the lottery, your spouse could win the lottery, your partner could win the lottery, and this means a big transformation in your joint finances. This is also the house of the occult, that which is hidden. I've read a hidden kind of like, so you might develop an interest in tarot, astrology, esoterical subjects like this, or stuff connected with, past lives or ghost hunting, even crime. It could be that which is hidden, that which is like kind of like unseen. One meaning connected with this house that I never actually thought about was the meaning of shame. The 8th house could be the house of shame. So it could be dealing with sentiments of that, those maybe hidden sentiments connected with shame. But when you deal with it with Pluto, it's the objective is to completely transform yourself. So it might be difficult at first, but at the end it will feel lighter. It's like taking out the crap and just trashing it, so you can feel lighter. Understand? What else? The 8th house, I talked about taxes, the occult, also intimacy. There could be a change in intimacy if you have a spouse, or even if you don't, there might be, I don't know, colorful. In Portuguese, we call that. You say friends with benefits. In Portuguese, we call them amigos coloridos, like colorful friends. A friend who is colorful. Understand? So you might have a friend with benefits, and that will transform your intimacy. And you don't necessarily have to marry this person or be with this person. You could join just for that. What else? I think I mentioned everything. So there might be like the big thing is like a change in terms of money, the money that you get from others, spouse, family members, even taxes. You could get like a big tax refund. You never know. So Pluto transiting the ninth house. It could be a change in your, let's call them spiritual values, in your beliefs. Maybe you were, whatever religion you have, you were a very deep believer, and then suddenly, kind of, not suddenly, because Pluto works for a very long time, okay? You might find yourself to be agnostic or atheist, or you might change to a different religion, or Pluto wants to go deep, okay? Pluto wants to uh, unbury everything which is buried. So let's say that you go to church, okay, and then you get disappointed because maybe many secrets from the leaders of your church. I'm saying church could be mosque, could be whatever religion you have, are uncovered. The secrets of those leaders are uncovered, and they're very bad secrets, and they did very bad things, and you just feel that how can God permit such a thing to happen? Sorry. And you might feel like, I don't believe in God anymore, and maybe it might take a very long time for you to find your way back to God, maybe in a different way, maybe in a different religion. So there's changes in beliefs. It could be that you stop believing. It could be that you believe more deeply, and this can bring disappointment with leaders in church. Also, the ninth house is a house connected with law and justice, so there could be an issue with law where maybe you have to go. There could be like a long law issue. I don't know what it is. Not necessarily, okay? Don't be afraid. Where you might have to hire a lawyer. No, this could be something like divorce. No, you have to hire a lawyer, or maybe you were a witness to something, and you will be called, and you will have to testify in a court of law. But something connected with law. It could even be that you decide to go back to law, or to become a lawyer, or to become a judge, or anything connected with that. That you're gonna go to law school, and you are going to become a lawyer. It could be something like that, okay? But not necessarily just lawyer. Like some of you might even decide, okay, I'm Catholic and I want to go further in my religion, for instance. So I'm going to go to the convent. I'm going to be a nun, or I'm going to be a priest, or simply, not necessarily that, I'm going to take the course of theology, stuff like that. It could be all sorts of things. The ninth house is also connected with uncles, and I see it like I see the third and the ninth house kind of like connected with that. There could be a death of an uncle, of an aunt, and maybe for some of you, issues connected with law and justice and court of law might be connected with that, with the death of let's say, inheritance problems with an aunt or an uncle, and somehow you are in the middle of it, and maybe you are one of those who will inherit. I don't know, something like that. It could be also, the ninth house is also the house connected with foreign lands. So you might go and live abroad. You might move on to another country. You might emigrate, be an immigrant. This could be a long process, not necessarily. Maybe you have to apply for a visa and all of that. Or it could be you go, but it takes it living in that country, whatever that country is, might be very different for you, might kind of difficult. You'll have to adapt. You'll have to learn a new language. And by living there, some of your beliefs will be transformed. Okay? So the transit of Pluto through the 10th house, this means a complete transformation of your career. No, but because Pluto is it takes a very long time to move. It also depends. Okay, you can have a very tiny little 10th house. It depends. But usually with Pluto, things kind of happen in the background until they just seem to happen all at once, but that's not exactly the truth. They're like burning up in the background, and we're trying not to look at the issues that are being raised by Pluto because sometimes it's happening in a very subconscious sort of level, and we kind of try not to look at those things. Anyway, there might be a transformation of your career. Okay, so maybe you were in some sort of career, maybe you just didn't like it anymore, and you decide to I'm tired of this. I'm gonna change my career. Okay, maybe you had to dealt with bosses, which is also 10th house, that were increasingly more controlling, more possessive, more narcissistic, all the bad things connected with Pluto. And you're like, I'm sick of this. I'm in a job that I hate. Maybe it gives you a lot of money. It might even give power, But maybe you're dealing with a boss that wants power over you, increasingly more and more power over you. Kind of like calling you on your day off at 4 a.m. I don't know what type of job you do. And you're like, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna just do something that I always wanted to do. I'm gonna be a cook. I'm gonna be a baker. I'm gonna bake bread. I'm gonna be a chef. I'm going to do something else, and you completely transform your life in terms of your career. Okay, this is like one way of reading this, the Pluto transit on the 10th house. It could also be 10th house is the way we are seen by society at large. Example, a person who is a student, how he is, I'm going to see him, I'm going to say him, how he is seen. He's seen as a student. Oh, he's Rick. He's 17. He's a student. Then he goes to college and he's studying to be a doctor. Oh, that's Rick. He's a medical student. So this is like your public image, even seen by everyone, including the ones who do not know you. Okay. And eventually Rick becomes a doctor. So how are you seen? Well, Rick is a doctor. Is Rick single? So Rick is seen as a single doctor. Then Rick gets married. Who is Rick? He's a doctor who just got married. Then Rick has a kid. Or twins. Let's say that he has twins. Rick is a doctor who's married and he had twins. So this is your public image. Okay. That's a housewife. She's a lawyer. He's a nurse. That's your public image. He is married. She is single. That person is a widow. That's your public image. So your public image might suffer a big transformation. You were single, you might become married. You were married, you might be divorced. You had no kids, you might have kids. You have this sort of profession, you might have another sort of profession. You were studying to be an engineer, you become an engineer. Therefore, the public image of you changes. Okay, so there's like a change in your public image. Okay, so Pluto transit in the 11th house. Okay, you're seeing a drawing, probably a different one from the one that I started. But both of the drawings are mine. Were made by me, were drawn by me, and I took the images from Unsplash, which is unsplash.com, and it has photography and it's free to use. Anyway, Pluto transit in the 11th house. There's a transformation in your objectives in life. I have natally the Pluto on the 11th house. It means that from time to time, in a kind of a cyclical type of manner, what I wanted, I no longer want. I wanted to be an archaeologist for many years, then I changed my mind. I wanted to be a writer, and I did that for a while. And then I had other interests. Okay, it's like your objectives for life, they keep changing. Okay, they change. So suddenly you might feel that the objectives that you have, your goals that you had, you no longer have them. You used to have certain types of goals. Now you have others. Kind of weird, huh? It kind of can even amaze you. So I wanted to be, I don't know, I have no idea, an athlete for the longest time. No, I don't want that anymore. Now that makes no sense to me anymore. Now that yearning that I had, that I had, I no longer feel it. I wanted to be an artist for the longest time. I no longer want to do that. I want to do something else. No, your goals change. The 11th house is also the house of earnings, the money that we earn from our career. Not necessarily from our job, but from our career. So there's going to be big changes in that department. Or it could be that the money that you used to earn was little and now it becomes big. Or it could be the other way around. Okay? So earnings from your career. There could be big or there could be small. It's going to change. 11th house is also the house of friends, the house of friendships. So big transformations in that area in your life. You might discover that the friend is increasingly more and more controlling, more obsessive, for instance, even stalker-like. Or you might discover, I'm going to say suddenly, but with Pluto it's never suddenly. Pluto gives you hints and hints and hints and hints until, if you persist in not seeing, and you persist in not seeing with Pluto, we always persist in not seeing, Pluto will come and make you see the truth. It might take years, but it will make you see the truth. So to you, it might seem like suddenly. To you, it might seem like an epiphany. Okay? Suddenly, quote unquote, you understand that your friend might be a narcissist. You understand that your friend might keep gaslighting you, telling you things that aren't true, telling you lies. Maybe you didn't find out this for a very long time. Maybe you knew, but maybe you thought, oh, I'm different. He or she really likes me as a friend. Until you understand that's not exactly how it is. This could be a friend, this could be a group of friends, who try to manipulate you, controlling you. I just suddenly thought of friends who join a cult, or friends who try to make you join a cult, if this makes any type of sense. So, and then you decide I'm going to cut loose with these friends because these friends are no longer serving me. They are a hinder to me. This could be bad if I continue to have these friends. So your friends will change. Could be something like this. Okay, your groups of friends will change. Could be a friend that you have to drop because this friend is bad for you. Or let's say that there's nothing wrong with your friends, that they are healthy mentally speaking. They don't have any type of narcissistic type of characteristics. But your group of friends change. Why do your group of friends change? Maybe because you're learning something. Maybe you were in college and then you but you left college and you went to work in a different country. So your group of friends change because you're no longer in contact with them, because now you are in contact with other people. So might be a constant renewal of friends and friendships during this Pluto transit on the 11th house. Okay? Now, Pluto transit on the 12th house. There could be secrets that are revealed that might be difficult to deal with. There could be your secrets, could be other people's secrets, any type of people. Could be family members, could be spouse, friends, siblings, I don't know. Could be a general secret, not necessarily connected with someone you meet, but a secret that's revealed that will affect you in a way that could be very painful. What else? It could be also the 12th house is the house of secret enemies. Secret enemies that you never thought you had might be revealed, you know. Also pay close attention to your dreams, because those secrets and those revelations might come out in your dreams. So yeah, basically it's that. Also, this house is connected with the 6th house, because the 12th house opposes the 6th house. There could be health issues that are revealed to you and you had no idea that they existed. It could also be very peaceful time, because the 12th house is also connected to meditation. So if you decide to go into meditation, go into silence, and trying to calm your mind and your heart, it might be very good to you, and it might be helpful, because it could reveal to you truths that you never thought you'd find out. Going to meditation, going to silence, going to prayer, even prayer could be helpful. Okay, that's it. This is all that I have in terms of Pluto transits. That's all that I got. Again, my email is dunyazade@gmail.com. I hope you like this video. That's it. Bye bye.